Greetings of the day. I'm Khushi from third year Political Science Honours, and today I will be discussing continuity and change in Modi's foreign policy. Since 2014, India's global standing has evolved significantly with a blend of traditional diplomatic principles and new assertive strategies. India continues to emphasize strategic autonomy, avoiding rigid alliances while proactively engaging with major global powers. Under Modi, India's foreign policy has been shaped by new challenges and opportunities, from border security concerns to expanding economic influence. Through this presentation, we will analyze key shifts and consistencies in India's diplomatic, economic, cultural, and security strategies. So let us first look upon the table of contents. We have key themes and academic insights, theoretical framework under which we will cover Modi doctrine and strategic autonomy. And we have India's relations with major global powers and regional diplomacy with neighborhood first and act east policies. And next we have India's stand on Palestine and Israel relations, cultural diplomacy and religion in foreign policy, economic diplomacy and global trade expansion, security and strategic challenges. So let us begin with the first topic, which is key themes and academic insights. Our discussion today will focus on four key dimensions. First is strategic autonomy, which is India's ability to balance relationships with global powers without compromising independence. And for economic diplomacy, we will focus how India has expanded trade, foreign investments, and infrastructure projects. For cultural diplomacy, we will focus on the role of religion, soft power, and diaspora engagement in diplomacy. For regional relations, we will focus on India's Act East and neighborhood first policies in South Asia and Indo Pacific. And throughout this analysis, we will assess how Modi has maintained India's traditional diplomatic principles while introducing new proactive engagement strategies. So, next we will discuss theoretical framework, Modi doctrine, and strategic autonomy. The foundation of Modi's foreign policy is often referred to as Modi doctrine, which emphasizes proactive global engagement. India takes leadership roles in global forums like the G20 and Quad. Multi alignment over non alignment. Unlike Nehruvian non alignment, Modi's policy embraces strategic partnerships across rival blocs, strategic autonomy, and remains intact, in which we see that India engages with US, Russia, and China without being dependent on any single power. Historically, India followed a non alignment foreign policy, avoiding military alliances during the Cold War. However, under Modi, this has evolved into issue based multi alignment where India collaborates with different nations based on strategic interest rather than ideology. Next, we will focus on India's relations with major global powers. Under Modi, India has successfully balanced relations with major global powers, ensuring national security and economic growth. For the case of United States, India has strengthened defense ties through Quad, COMCASA, and BECA agreements, while expanding technology partnerships in AI, space, and semiconductors. For Russia, despite global pressure, India continues its defense and strategic partnerships, importing cheap Russian oils post Ukrainian crisis. Relationships with China are a bit complex with border tensions in Doklam and Galwan regions. Yet bilateral trade exceeded 136 billion in 2023. For European Union, India is negotiating a free trade agreement with EU while expanding renewable energy and cybersecurity collaboration. India's multi alignment approach ensures it remains an independent power rather than being drawn into great power rivalries. For the next topic, we have regional diplomacy, neighborhood first, and act east. Modi's regional diplomacy focuses on enhancing India's influence in South Asia and the Indo Pacific. With Pakistan, relations remain tense due to cross border terrorism, with a shift towards a zero tolerance policy after the Uri and Balakot airstrikes. For Bangladesh, India has strengthened economic and infrastructure ties, making Bangladesh its largest trading partner in South Asia. For South Asia, we have Act East policy. India actively engages with ASEAN, Japan, and Australia with a focus on Indo Pacific maritime security. For Middle East, Think West policy, India deepens strategic and economic ties with the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Israel, securing energy partnerships and trade agreements. These initiatives help India counterbalance China's regional influence while promoting economic cooperation. For the next topic, we have India's stand on Palestine and Israel relations. India's Middle East policy reflects a carefully balanced approach. For Palestine, India has historically supported Palestinian statehood and continues to back Palestine at the UN. But we can see for Israel, India has deepened ties, making Israel a key defense, cybersecurity, and agricultural technology partner. But we can see a balanced diplomacy here. While Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel in 2017, India continues to aid diplomatic support to Palestine. This pragmatic neutrality allows India to maintain strong relations without alienating either side, which is a quite interesting one among the all strategies under Modi's foreign policy. Now we will focus on cultural diplomacy and religion in foreign policy. Modi's foreign policy extensively utilizes culture and religion as diplomatic tools. For example, Gita diplomacy. Modi gifts the Bhagavad Gita to world leaders, projecting India's civilizational heritage. As well as yoga diplomacy is quite prominent. India successfully lobbied for International Yoga Day at the UN in 2014, reinforcing its global soft power. For diaspora engagement, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, temple diplomacy, and OCI reforms strengthen connections with over 30 million overseas Indians. These cultural initiatives enhance India's soft power, positioning it as a global cultural leader. For the next topic, we will discuss economic diplomacy and global trade expansion. Modi's economic diplomacy focuses on FDI and trade growth, where India received 84 billion in FDI during 2022 to 23, benefiting from Make in India and production linked incentive schemes. Infrastructure strategies, where India Middle East Europe corridor offers an alternative to China's Belt and Road initiatives. For trade agreements, India strengthens trade with ASEAN, UAE, and EU, securing bilateral free trade deals. These policies establish India as an economic powerhouse in the emerging multipolar world. For the last topic, we will cover security and strategic challenges. India faces key strategic and security challenges, which are border security. ongoing tensions with China in the Galwan region and Pakistan in the LOC confrontations. Counterterrorism. The Balakot airstrikes in 2019 reinforced India's preemptive defense strategy. For maritime security, Quad and Indo Pacific alliances enhance India's naval dominance in the Indian Ocean. Cybersecurity and AI is also a major part of security challenges. India is emerging as a leader in global AI governance, digital sovereignty, and 5G security. Modi's proactive security doctrine ensures a strong, modernized defense approach. For last, let us cover conclusion. For this whole presentation, we saw there is a synthesis of continuity and change. In summary, Modi's foreign policy balances strategic autonomy with global engagement. For continuity, we see that traditional diplomatic principles remain intact, and for a change, a more assertive, globally integrated approach is there in Modi's foreign policy. India's future will be defined by economic expansion, regional leadership, and technological innovation. This was the end of this presentation. I would appreciate feedbacks for the same.